Difficulty in games is often subjective, but I'm on the quest to find out how difficult some of my favorite game series actually are, objectively speaking. If you're new here, here's the idea. Life's gotten busier, gaming's gotten noisier, and live service games have turned keeping up into a second job, with worse benefits. Meanwhile, a lot of single-player experiences that made me love games in the first place have been pushed further into the background. So I decided to go back to the series that I grew up with and replay them with a fresh set of eyes. Part nostalgia trip, part difficulty test, and part excuse to stop pretending I want to grind daily challenges forever. This video is part 3 of the Halo series, where I take on Halo 3. I recorded and noted every death I suffered while playing, and at the end of it all, I'll be able to say objectively which game in the series is hardest and why. Heading into the third game, I already know Halo is much harder than the BioShock series, but having played through the first 2 games, I'm running into fewer skill issues, so this third entry is going to be easy, right? Every game. Every game. Fuck! Such a waste, bro. Well now, maybe not that easy. If you think this will be an entertaining series, like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos in this series, as I still have to take on Halo 3 ODST and Halo Reach, as well as Halo 4. We've finished off Halo 2 with Chief ready to end the fight we started. So, naturally, Halo 3 starts, and it launches us right into the action. The opening cutscene sets the tone immediately. The Arbiter and Sergeant Johnson are deep in the jungle on Earth, searching for Master Chief after a fall from orbit. The dialogue establishes 2 critical things right away. First, humanity is scattered and on the defensive. Second, the Arbiter is now fully integrated as an ally, not just a temporary truce. When Johnson says he never gets me anything, he sounds like a nagging wife, but hey, it's a pretty funny way to cut the tension, just enough to remind you who these characters are under pressure. We then take control and push through Covenant forces occupying the jungle, which tells us the war has fully reached Earth's surface in a more grounded, desperate way. This is not a grand space opera moment, it's a search and rescue in hostile territory. As you move forward, the mission reinforces that Chief's absence actually matters. Marines are holding on, but barely, and the Covenant presence feels organized and aggressive. The reunion is quick and efficient, no dramatic speech, just immediate reintegration into the fight. The ending cutscene with Cortana's fragmented message adds a layer of urgency and mystery. It hints that something bigger is happening beyond just Earth's invasion, pulling the story forward into the next mission. This level matters because it reestablishes the core trio, resets the stakes on Earth, and quietly pivots the narrative toward a larger, more unknown threat. This mission is Halo's comfort food, in the best way. Open jungle spaces, flexible combat, and multiple angles to approach every fight. The first half is almost deceptive. It is slowly controlled and gives you room to relearn the sandbox. Then the second half tightens up hard. More enemies, more crossfire, and way less room for mistakes. Brutes start demanding respect immediately, especially when they push aggressively forward and force you out of cover. It's a clean reintroduction into Halo's rhythm. Break shields, control space, don't get greedy. Also a reminder that the game is happy to let you feel confident right before it humbles you. 5 deaths here. All the deaths showing up in the second half of the mission, basically meaning the game let me go on a peaceful jungle field trip first, then lock the exits and release the brutes. The first half is look at the scenery, take your time. The second half is surprise exam with no notes. I had just enough confidence to start pushing fights like I was the main character, and the brutes immediately stepped in like the substitute teacher who did not care about your excuses. This moves us to Mission 2, Crow's Nest. Picking up immediately after Sierra 117, the story shifts from jungle survival to full military coordination as Master Chief returns to a UNSC command bunker beneath Earth's surface. The opening cutscene establishes this as one of humanity's last organized strongholds, with Commander Miranda Keyes and Lord Hood coordinating a desperate defensive. The tone here is different. Less scrappy survival, more structured last stand. You're no longer just fighting to regroup, you're now part of the chain of command again. The sense of stability does not last long. The Covenant quickly breach the base, turning what should be a safe command center into a collapsing war zone. This mission reveals how fragile humanity's position really is. Even their most fortified locations are vulnerable. As the attack unfolds, the objective shifts from defense to evacuation, reinforcing that the UNSC is reacting, not controlling the situation. The introduction of the bomb threat adds urgency and shows the Covenant are not just attacking blindly, they're executing coordinated high-impact strikes. One of the most important narrative beats comes through Cortana's continued fragmented transmission. Her message is still incomplete, but now it's clear that it's tied to something critical, something that could change the direction of the war. This creates a second layer of tension running alongside the immediate survival objective. By the end of the mission, the base is effectively lost, and the UNSC is forced to fall back again, of course, because we blow up the base. The key shift here is clarity. The war on Earth is going poorly, but Cortana's message is starting to suggest there is potentially a solution here. This mission hands the story forward by pushing the character out of the defense mode and toward whatever larger play Cortana is starting to point to. This mission feels like tight hallways, explosions everywhere, and Marines who step in front of your grenade with confidence of someone who absolutely never learned a lesson. The mission trades open jungle freedom for a cramped, sweaty mess where everything is way too close and way too aggressive. You are constantly moving, constantly reacting, and occasionally wondering if the base was built out of drywall, duct tape, and blind optimism. It's less about strategy and more about surviving the next 30 seconds without getting pinned in a corner while a brute rushes you like you owe money in a bad decision. 6 deaths here. Slight increase from the first mission, and it makes sense. The tighter spaces reduce your options and punish positioning mistakes faster. Most deaths here actually came from getting overwhelmed, not necessarily outplayed. This moves us to mission 3, Tsavo's Highway. Crow's Nest ends with evacuation, and Tsavo's Highway wastes no time showing what that actually looks like in practice. Chief is deployed topside into a full-scale retreat where UNSC forces are trying to regroup after losing one of their key defensive positions. The opening moments immediately reframe the battle. This is no longer about holding ground, it's about surviving long enough to reposition and strike back. The mission introduces a major shift in scale. You are no longer confined to hallways or jungle paths. The war opens up into wide highways, open terrain, and large vehicle engagements. This is humanity attempting to fight back with everything they have left. Sergeant Johnson continues to act as your anchor, reinforcing that this is still an organized effort, even if it feels like controlled chaos. Narratively, the Covenant presence feels heavier and more entrenched. Race, choppers, and fortified positions signal that the enemy is not just invading, they are establishing control. The UNSC is not pushing them out yet. They are disrupting and delaying. The mission also continues to build towards Cortana's message in the background. It's not resolved here, but it lingers as a reminder that whatever the real solution is, it's not going to come from brute force on Earth alone. By the end, the UNSC manages to carve out a temporary path forward, but it does not feel like a victory. It feels like momentum. This mission matters because it transitions the campaign from reactive survival to early stages of a counteroffensive. We're no longer just escaping, we're starting to push back, even if it's only slightly. This is where Halo 3 hands you the keys and pats you on the back, and absolutely doesn't even check if you know how to drive. Wide open spaces, vehicles everywhere, and every fight slowly turns into a full-blown insurance claim. 1 second you're cruising in a Warthog like you are in a recruitment ad, the next you're getting deleted by a Wraith that has been watching you make bad decisions for the last 15 seconds. It's fun, chaotic, and feels like the traffic laws were replaced with whoever explodes last wins. 7 deaths here, another small jump from the first and second mission, and it kind of tracks because there's the increased scale and chaos. Vehicles add power, but also unpredictability. Most deaths here were pretty sudden from heavy damage, not slow mistakes. The mission tests awareness more than mechanics. This moves us to mission 4, the Storm. Tsavo Highway builds momentum, and the Storm is where that momentum turns into a direct counterattack. Master Chief joins Sergeant Johnson and the UNSC forces in a coordinated push to take down a massive Covenant anti-air tower that is locking down the region. The opening framing makes this clear. This is not survival anymore. This is a targeted strike to remove a key piece of Covenant control and open the door for a larger offensive. As the mission progresses, the scale of the conflict continues to grow. You move through entrenched Covenant positions, indicating that they're not just occupying Earth, they're fortifying it. The resistance is heavier, more organized, and more desperate. The mission also begins to visually and narratively hint at something larger, with the massive structure looming in the distance. The Covenant are building towards something, not just fighting to win. A major turning point comes with the Scarab encounter. This is not just a gameplay spectacle, it reinforces how dominant Covenant war machines are and how much effort it takes to bring one down. Destroying it feels like a meaningful blow, even if it's just one piece of a much larger force. It is a small but necessary win that keeps the UNSC offensive alive. By the end of the mission, the anti-air tower is destroyed, which directly enables the next phase of the campaign. This is one of the first clear tactical victories for humanity in Halo 3. However, the victory is framed carefully. You do not win the war, you remove a barrier. The mission matters because it transitions the story from scattered resistance into coordinated strikes that begin to shift the battlefield, while still hinting that the real objectives lie beyond what is happening on Earth. This mission is Halo saying, you wanted a big battle, here you go, and then immediately over-delivers like it's trying to show off. Open fights, vehicles everywhere, and then suddenly you're climbing on a scarab like Peter Dinklage squaring up to Zing Zhou, the tallest female basketball player. Completely outmatched on paper, but way too committed to back out now. It's chaotic in the best way, just enough structure to keep things from fully falling apart while everything around you definitely is. Also, a great reminder that if you ignore a Wraith for more than 5 seconds, it's going to take that personally and it's going to file a very explosive complaint. 5 deaths here, not much to say about it, other than the fact that I've clearly improved since taking on Halo 1. The first game, I would spray and pray, not targeting a single enemy. This time around, I know if I'm risking damage, I have to make sure I trade for a kill to even the odds one little bit more. This gets us to Floodgate. The storm ends with a sense of momentum, and Floodgate immediately rips that away. The opening cutscene shifts tone hard as a crashed Covenant ship slams into Earth, releasing the Flood into the city. What looked like a contained war between humanity and the Covenant instantly becomes something far worse. Master Chief and Arbiter are forced to respond to an outbreak that no one is prepared to handle. This mission is less about winning and more about containing damage. The Flood spreads rapidly, infecting both humans and Covenant, collapsing the idea of clear sides in the conflict. One of the most important narrative beats comes through the reappearance of 343 Guilty Spark, who arrives with a very specific goal: stop the Flood at all costs. His presence reframes the situation entirely. The war on Earth is no longer matters if the Flood is not contained. The reveal of Cortana's message becomes critical here. Her warning about a solution, something that could stop the Flood, finally starts to make sense. The message is not just emotional noise, it is direction. The mission connects the dots between her absence, the Flood's return, and the need to move beyond Earth entirely. By the end, the immediate outbreak is contained through destruction, not precision. It's messy and costly, but necessary. The key shift is now clear. The Covenant war is no longer the primary threat, the Flood is. The mission matters because it completely reframes the stakes of the campaign and pushes the story toward a larger, more existential conflict. Everything here is faster, uglier, and way less predictable. Like, thinking it is love at first sight and then realizing mid-conversation there's absolutely nothing going on upstairs. Enemies do not take cover, they just sprint at you, like you're personally offended their entire bloodline. It's controlled panic the whole time, and every fight feels like it's one bad decision away from completely falling apart. Also, a great reminder that sticking around to clean up is how you get dogpiled in about 5 seconds, like you overstayed your welcome at the worst possible party. 3 deaths here. This mission is one of the easiest ones because you can breeze through the checkpoints without much combat, so that's exactly what I did. The Ark is the next mission. Floodgate completely shifts the stakes, and the Ark answers that shift with scale. The opening cutscene shows a massive portal opening near Earth, created by the Covenant as a part of their larger plan. Master Chief, alongside with Sergeant Johnson, Commander Miranda Keyes, and the Arbiter, make the call to follow it. This is one of the first major turning points in Halo 3. The fight is no longer for Earth, it's for control of whatever lies beyond the portal. Arriving on the Ark reframes the entire conflict. This is not just another battlefield, it's the origin point of the Halo rings themselves, a place that exists outside the galaxy and holds the power to activate or stop the entire Halo network. The Covenant, led by the Prophet of Truth, are no longer just invading, they are executing their endgame. Their goal is to fire the rings and fulfill the Great Journey, even if it wipes out all life in the process. The mission reveals just how close the Covenant are to success. Truth is not scrambling anymore. He's advancing with purpose, using the Ark as the final stage of his plan. At the same time, the UNSC and the elites are now fully aligned, marking a complete shift from the fractured alliances of Halo 2. This is no longer a temporary truce, it's a unified front against a shared existential threat. The scale of the Ark itself reinforces the narrative weight. Massive Forerunner structures, endless mechanical landscapes, and the sense that you are standing on something far bigger than a single war. Cortana's message continues to loom in the background, now clearly tied to this location and whatever solution she hinted at earlier. By the end of the mission, the objective is simple, but massive in implication. Push forward, stop truth, and prevent activation. This mission matters because it fully transitions the story from war for survival into a race to stop total annihilation. This board is set, and all factions are now converging on the same final objective. This mission is long. Like, did I accidentally start a second campaign long? It's even worse because my dumbass thought I missed an objective, so I restarted about 1/3 the way through, and I can say without a doubt, this was my least favorite mission. Huge vehicle sections, massive battles, and just enough chaos to keep things constantly falling apart and death rolling in. 1 minute, you're rolling with a convoy, next you're getting shredded by 3 different angles of fire and wondering, who approved this route? It's epic, but also absolutely makes you earn it. 59 deaths here. This is a spike. Restarting the mission after 7 deaths didn't really move the mark but much because I was trying to rush through since I was behind on the video production, and hey look, I'm still uploading a week late. C'est la vie. Length plus scale plus sustained combat pressure equals exhaustion and mistakes. The mission throws everything at you for an extended period, which increases the chances of small errors stacking up. If I wasn't stubborn on trying to breeze through and taking on combat sections more frequently, I would have easily cleared the mission with fewer deaths, but why do that when I could run the same checkpoint 20 times, right? High deaths here. It's much less about unfair moments and more about cumulative pressure wearing me down over time. This gets us into the Covenant. Technically, this is supposed to be the longest mission in the game, but I restarted and that made the time to complete the previous mission longer. So the arc set the stage and the Covenant is the payoff. This mission is the direct assault on the Prophet of Truth and his attempt to activate ye Halo rings. From the opening, it's clear. This is the moment. Everything has been building toward. Master Chief, the Arbiter, and the combined UNSC and elite forces launch a full-scale offensive on Truth's position. What makes this mission matter more is how it resolves multiple arcs at once. The alliance between humans and elites fully pays off here, not just in story but in execution. You're fighting alongside former enemies against a shared threat, and it finally feels unified instead of fragile. As you push deeper into the Covenant stronghold, it becomes clear that Truth is completely committed. There's no fallback plan. He will activate the rings, no matter what the cost. The mission escalates with layered objectives, anti-air defensive scarabs, and heavily fortified positions, all reinforcing that this is the Covenant's last stand. Then the Flood arrive. This is the turning point within the turning point. The Flood, crashing the fight, forces an uneasy, temporary cooperation, reframing the battlefield again. The Gravemind is no longer a distant threat. It's here, interfering directly in the outcome of the war. The final confrontation with Truth is not just a boss moment. It's the collapse of the Covenant's leadership and ideology. The Arbiter, executing Truth, closes his arc from disgraced commander to one who ends the Covenant's religious crusades. It's clean, direct, and long overdue. By the end, one war is effectively over. The Covenant as a unified force is finished, but the mission makes it clear this is not victory. We trade one enemy for another. The Flood remains, and Cortana's solution is still unresolved. This mission matters because it delivers the payoff of the Covenant conflict while immediately pivoting the narrative toward the final Flood threat. This is Halo at full chaos. Big battles, 2 scarabs, and just enough friendly fire potential to make you question your life choices. Every fight feels like a set piece, and the game keeps stacking them like it's trying to prove a point. It is awesome, but also the kind of mission where you survive by just barely holding on and holding everything together. But since I took a break before taking this mission on, I was much more composed, so I only had 20 deaths here. Some fair difficulty, but nothing compared to the Arc, in my opinion. This gets us into Cortana. The Covenant ends one war, and Cortana drops you straight into something far worse. The opening makes the objective brutally clear. Chief is going back into the flood-infested High Charity to receive Cortana. This is not a strategic strike. This is a rescue mission inside the most dangerous environment in the series. High Charity is no longer a city, it's a flood hive controlled by the Gravemind, and the mission leans heavily into that transformation. The level constantly feeds you fragments of Cortana's dialogue and the Gravemind, mixing memories, warnings, and emotional breakdown. These are not just story beats, they are reinforcing that she has been under psychological attack for the entire game. Her message earlier was not just about a solution, it was her call for help. Narratively, this mission is about cost. You're not pushing forward to win a battle, you are walking through the consequences of failing to stop the flood earlier. The environment itself tells the story. Organic growth, distorted architecture, and endless infection show that the flood does not just occupy, it consumes and repurposes everything. When you finally reach Cortana, the payoff is intentionally grounded. There's no grand speech, just recovery and immediate urgency to leave. The key is revealed. The key reveal is that she has the index and knowledge tied to stopping the Halo network, confirming that her survival is critical to the end of this conflict. The mission closes, handing off directly into the final act. You have the pieces you need, but now you have to survive long enough to use it. This mission matters because it resolves Cortana's arc, deepens the threat of the Flood through direct exposure, and sets up the final solution to the Halo rings. It is both emotional payoff and narrative setup for the game. This mission is stress, tight corridors, infinite feeling enemies, and zero personal space. The Flood do not knock, they just show up. It feels like the game is constantly asking, what if we just added more? And then immediately doing it. You're not clearing rooms, you're just trying to survive them. I racked up 17 deaths here. It's a little bit higher, but it's kind of expected given the environment. Tight spaces remove your options and amplify pressure. Usually the Flood are the easiest parts of the game, in my opinion, in the past games, but that was always because they never really had a massively punishing ranged fighter. But this mission changes that, and they are aggressive as hell. Most of my deaths came from just getting slaughtered by those long-range, needle-shooting bastards. This gets us into Halo, the final mission. Cortana gave us the solution. Use the index to fire the partially constructed Halo ring, and the mission Halo is this execution. The mission opens with Master Chief and Cortana, along with the Arbiter, arriving at the newly constructed Halo ring. This is the final gamble. Instead of stopping the rings from firing, the plan is to fire the incomplete ring in a controlled way to wipe out the Flood. While sparing the rest of the galaxy, it's risky, imperfect, and exactly the kind of solution Cortana hinted at earlier. This mission reinforces how fragile the plan is. The ring is unfinished, unstable, and surrounded by Flood forces trying to stop you. At the same time, 343 Guilty Spark returns, initially assisting, but clearly uneasy about the idea of firing an incomplete installation. The tension builds through the level. Sparks represents protocol and preservation of the ring. Chief represents necessity. As you push through the mission, the Flood presence feels relentless, but also desperate. This is their last chance to stop activation. The deeper you go, the more it becomes clear that this is not just about winning anymore, it's about ending things before they get worse. The turning point comes when Guilty Spark fully rejects this plan. Right before we activate the rings, or right before Sergeant Johnson activates the ring, he goes berserk. He attacks Sergeant Johnson suddenly and brutally kills him, and snaps any illusion of cooperation. This moment matters because it reinforces a core theme. Even allies built on logic will turn if their purpose is threatened. Johnson's death also lands as one of the few grounded emotional losses in the series. Since he used space magic to survive the first ring, he became a core character for the series. Since one of our main party members just got murked, we return the favor and destroy 343 Guilty Spark, removing the last obstacle to firing the ring. We activate the ring, and the final escape begins. This mission matters because it delivers the final solution to the Flood, resolves Guilty Spark's arc, and raises the stakes one last time by forcing you to survive the consequences of your own actions. 9 deaths here, a drop from Cortana, and it makes sense, as I was a little more tame in rushing through things. The final vehicle escape is really more cinematic than anything else, so all the deaths came from the initial climb to activate the ring and the boss. So, in conclusion, we went from Halo 2, a game that expanded the universe and raised the stakes, to Halo 3, which brings everything to a head and actually finishes the fight. The story pulls all the threads together, the Covenant collapse, the Flood becoming the real problem, and the scale jumps from saving Earth to stopping total annihilation. Feels like a payoff game. Almost every mission is either setting up or delivering on something that has been built or building since Halo 1. Out of the 3 so far, this one was definitely the easiest. I totaled 131 deaths. This is in part because my skill at the games was definitely increasing, and in part because the Arbiter Companion is constantly respawning, helping to catch some fire. With that, we can finally answer which Halo from the original trilogy is the hardest. Halo 1, I had 241 deaths, with the least amount of skill. Halo 2, my skills improved, but I still had 264 deaths. And, as I just said, Halo 3, I had 131 deaths, making Halo 2 take the crown for the hardest Halo game, at least as it relates to the original trilogy. That said, I still have Halo 3, ODST, Halo Reach, and Halo 4 to take on. So, once all is said and done, I'll be able to rank the hardest Halo game of the Master Chief Collection. So, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see those videos. Otherwise, just tune in next week.
If we don't make it,
We'll make it.